They've stocked food. They've bought gear. They've even built bunkers. But when the real collapse happens, most preppers will still fail. This video isn't for entertainment. It's a wake-up call. Because the truth is, prepping has become a trend, but survival is earned. In the next 45 minutes, we're going to break down the hard truth about why most preppers are setting themselves up for disaster. From psychological traps to critical oversights to the brutal reality no gear can fix. Stay with us. Your life may literally depend on what you're about to hear. Let's start with the most dangerous failure of all, the mindset failure. Most preppers have the gear, the plans, the bug-out bags, but they don't have the mental toughness to survive real crisis. You can't Amazon Prime resilience. When disaster hits, panic takes over, and the brain reverts to instinct. Most people freeze, not because they're unprepared, but because they've never trained for chaos. Prepping without stress testing your own reactions is like packing a parachute you've never jumped with. Have you ever hiked 20 miles on no sleep? Gone 3 days without food or clean water? Been cold, wet, and injured, and still made rational decisions? The mindset is everything, and most preppers never train it. Prepping has become commercialized. There's a gadget for everything. But survival isn't about gadgets. It's about knowing what to do when they break. That $300 survival knife? Useless if you don't know how to use it under pressure. That solar generator? What happens when you drop it? Or it fails in freezing temps. Most preppers are gear-rich and skill-poor. The average person watches a YouTube video on fire starting and thinks they're ready. But try lighting a fire in a storm, in the dark, with wet hands. Real preppers practice failure. They simulate bad conditions. They adapt. If your gear is your lifeline, you're already vulnerable because gear breaks, but knowledge endures. Here's a truth most won't admit. Prepping is physical, and most preppers are out of shape. Bugging out means walking, carrying weight, climbing, lifting. If you can't sprint half a mile with a 40-pound pack, you're a liability to yourself and your group. You can't outsmart exhaustion. Your mind might say, go, but your body quits. And when that happens in a real disaster, you die. Physical fitness is the one prep you can't buy, and yet it's the one most ignored. Let's talk about one of the biggest blind spots in prepping. People. Most preppers plan to go alone, or worse, assume their family will fall in line when chaos strikes. But survival under stress breaks relationships. People panic. They argue. They disobey orders. They break down. Have you trained with your group? Have you practiced communication under pressure? Does everyone know the plan? The truth is, most prepper groups aren't groups. They're wishful thinking. In a real crisis, untrained people become your greatest threat. If you haven't drilled with your team coordinated roles and prepared psychologically, your group will fall apart at the worst possible moment. Food storage is a cornerstone of prepping. But here's the problem. Most preppers store what they don't eat. Buckets of rice, bags of beans, MREs they've never tried. Your body can't adjust to that kind of shock overnight. Real prepping means eating your preps, rotating your pantry, knowing how your body reacts. Have you ever eaten nothing but rice and lentils for 30 days? Have you cooked from scratch with no power? No spices? No oil? Most preppers have a fantasy pantry, packed with food they hope they'll use, but never practice with. That's a recipe for failure. Literally. Most preppers prepare for the event, the disaster, the blackout, the storm, but very few plan for what comes after. Society doesn't snap back in 72 hours. What's your plan for month 3? Year 1? Do you know how to grow food? Purify water long-term? Repair shoes? Navigate barter economies? The aftermath is the new world. If you're prepping for a return to normal, you're not prepping at all. Real prepping means adapting collapse as the new normal, not surviving until they fix it. This one stings, but it needs to be said. Most preppers are prepping for ego. They want to be the hero, the lone wolf, the one who was right. But ego gets you killed. It makes you take risks, makes you underestimate others, makes you ignore good advice. Survival requires humility. It requires listening, learning, and adapting fast. If you think you've got it all figured out, you've already failed. If you're still watching, you're already ahead of most. Because real prepping isn't about gear. It's not about hoarding supplies or building bunkers. It's about mindset, fitness, community, practice, and humility. Most preppers will fail, but you don't have to. Train harder, think deeper, prepare smarter, and never, ever assume you're ready. Because the minute you do is the minute you won't be.